the center of learning, where America's best young leaders are being trained to become just that, future leaders. Theodore Roosevelt once said, "A man who has not gone to college may steal a freight car, but a man with a college education may steal the whole railroad." For Joshua Podcamina, this quote makes no sense. How can you steal a railroad when it's attached to the ground? Greetings, and welcome to yet another episode of Unsolved Mysteries. I'm your host, Robert Jack. Tonight we discuss the disappearance of the famed college persona, Joshua W. Podcamina. We examine the unsolved mystery of where the college personality of Joshua Podcamina has vanished to. The question for tonight, then, is, what happened to the college pod?
It was the fall of 1996 when the campus of Hobart College welcomed to its picturesque Geneva, New York landscape a young freshman from the outskirts of Syracuse. Similar to famous celebrities with one name, like Bono, Madonna, and McLovin, this young freshman was known simply as Pod. He did it being a
clown,
An exhibitionist,
The penny pincher. A mystery.
a guy who drove a Buick, a tycoon, a master of piggies.
Yes, College Pod was indeed a character in college, meaning many things to many people, including his own father.
If you raise your son and you have such high aspirations and hopes for him, and you send him away to school and get this high-class, high-expensive education, and what did we find out? I thought I raised a real-life Tommy boy.
That guy in a little coat.
But make no mistake about it, College Pod was a personality that could not be ignored. But first we must take a brief look at the development of Joshua Podcamina from the early days, starting back in April 1977.
He was such a sweet little baby, and quiet and loving, and just a child of your dreams.
Give me some meatloaf! Mom! Where's the meatloaf?
Josh showed brief flashes of his college wild side, even as a young child.
I mean, certainly early on, there were signs that Josh was going to be a real achiever. I think he could dunk a basketball from the time that he was about 10 years old. I know for a fact that he got an A in home economics in 7th grade, which was great. We always used to tell him, hey, you know, if nothing else works out, you could be a seamstress or a cook. You know, Josh, I think at age 14, was 6'11" and 325 pounds.
Through his prep school years, Josh scored highly in all classes, often showing signs of brilliance. To investigate the disappearance of Pod's personality from Hobart, we must first understand his tenure at Hobart. As such, Unsolved Mysteries hired its two in-house, underworked detectives, Detective Rob Earl and Detective Robert Bull Tarleton, to investigate exactly what happened to Joshua Podcamina.
Robert Earl, 15 years U.S. Navy SEAL.
I'm Detective Robert Bull Tarleton. I read Agatha Christie and like French crepes on Sundays.
We have been sent to Hobart and William Smith colleges to investigate the so-called lost legend of College Pod.
It all started in this room right behind me during Pod's freshman year at Geneva Hall, with a roommate who could kill, and probably did. This room held more secret meetings than the Pentagon.
Conklin, you run a post pattern and tackle the pizza delivery guy. Stole? You grab the pizza and deliver it back to me.
What have you found?
Got some documentation here of the POD.
What does it say?
Pod room. 120 Bartlett Ave. The location of Pod's dorm during his sophomore year. Although serving as a nice escape hatch, the room was subject to multiple thefts from leaving the hatch unlocked. Do not get into that room, it is totally locked. Looks like the colleges have learned their lesson.
And just across the street from Bartlett, where Pod's sophomore year dorm was, he conveniently secured himself a parking spot.
At this very intersection, Joshua Podcameter, like his idol Tony Soprano, would secure his parking spot by when anyone else parking in that spot, he would block them in, sometimes for weeks at a time, trying to teach them a lesson.
Here we are at Hobart College's dining facility, a wonderful state-of-the-art eatery, a facility that Joshua Podcameter has never seen the inside. His parents have spent thousands of dollars, and Josh would only order cans.
Hey, Wilson. Wilson, you over there? I'm looking for some answers about Josh Podcameter when he was at Hobart. Oh, Detective Earl, what are you doing?
What?
Come on, I'm working here. Can you see? Get out of here.
Back in the fall of 1996, Josh Podcameter's college lacrosse career started here at Boswell Field. In the spring of 2000, this is where Josh Podcameter's college career ended. Wheels. Here. I nailed it.
So we're here on page 2 of our report. Detective Earl, I'm not so sure that we have everything quite yet.
This is the Kappa Alpha Society. Follow me. Here, as you can see, back on the site of the Kappa Alpha Society, we contracted out an excavation contractor to dig up our yard to find any secret possessions that Pod has buried in the backyard. Just behind that white door is a stone basement. Slate floor, a beautiful bar, which Josh Podcameter himself refurnished. That is the exact location of some late night activities that Josh Podcameter would participate in.
You know what I think of Pod? I think of the night I dropped him on his back. And I'm not saying that's how he disappeared, but I did take him down.
One of the luxuries of living in the lodge was having a full kitchen, although Pod's exponential weight gain in college wasn't solely due to food. He will often strike the kitchen with the tenacity of a savage.
The industrial-sized refrigerators were bolted down, just like this door here.
When the aluminum doors were locked, Pod took it upon himself to break into the kitchen and unscrew the hinges on the refrigerator door. Predictably, Pod never put the screws back in after he finished his meal. He nearly crushed our 90-year-old house mother the following morning.
This concludes our field research as appointed detectives in the Podcameter investigation at Hobart College.